Let us see the next question. Samreen Enterprise has been operating its manufacturing facilities till 31st of March 2022 on, highlight the portion, single shift working with the following cost structure. Information is given to us. Cost of the material is rupees 6, cost of the wages is rupees 5, and out of 5 rupees 40% is fixed. Overhead is again 5, and from that say again 80% is fixed. Selling price is 18. Selling price is 18. Total of all of them is 6 plus 5 plus 5. That comes to 16. So the total cost is 16. Selling price is 18. So there is a profit of rupees 2. Sales during the year is 4,32,000. As on 31st of March 2022, the company held raw material of rupees 36,000 valued at cost, WIP 22,000 valued at, highlight the portion, prime cost, finished goods 72,000 valued at total cost, debtors 1,08,000. In view of increased market demand, it is proposed to, highlight the portion, double production by working an extra shift. I request all of you to use your calculator along with me. Right now the sales is 4,32,000 divided by selling price is 18. It means that say right now we are producing and selling 24,000 number of units. So from 24,000 it will increase to 48,000. That is the way, so the production will be double by working an extra shift. What does it mean? It means that say right now, let us say we are working for 8 hours in the factory. However, now we are going to work for 16 hours in the factory, like that information is given. It is expected that 10% discount will be available from the suppliers of the raw material in view of increased volume of the business. Selling price will remain same. You need not to provide this. This is an assumption that we always make in absence of any contrary information. The credit period allowed to the customer will remain unaltered. You need not to provide this. Again, we make this assumption otherwise. Credit availed from the supplier will continue to remain at present, that is 2 months. Leg means the time gap. And the payment of the wages and expenses will continue to remain half month. You are required to assess, you are required to make an estimation of the additional working capital requirement if the policy to increase the output is implemented. So if the policy to increase the output is implemented, then in that case, what is the additional working capital requirement? That is a question. It means, friends, we are required to compute the working capital requirement right now, that is say working with the single shift, and we are required to compute the working capital requirement proposed when we are going to work for the double shift, and then we are required to find difference of both of them, and that is the additional working capital requirement. This is what say we are required to do. I request all of you to go through the question, please. Let us start with the answer. A small working note, calculation of the number of units that we are going to produce and sell at new level. So write down answer. Working note number 1, calculation of number of units to be produced and sold at new level. So in this, I request you to write down answer along with me. Sales upon selling price per unit. That will give us, so the number of units that we are producing and selling right now, 4,32,000 divided by 18 into 2, because we are going to double it. So 4,32,000 divided by 18, it is 24,000 into 2. That is 48,000 units. That is the way number of units to be produced and sold at new level will be calculated. Working note number 2. Calculation of total cost for present and proposed activity level. In bracket write down total cost and cost per unit. So in that we will have the working like this. Understand carefully. Column number 1 is particulars. Column number 2 is single shift. In that per unit and in total. Double shift again per unit and in total. In single shift we will have 24,000 number of units, and in double shift we will have 48,000 number of units. How to do answer for single shift? Let us have a discussion for the same. We start with direct material consumption. Per unit it is given as 6. So in total it will be 6 into 24,000. That comes to 1,44,000. Then direct wages is given 5. Out of that 40% is fixed. So I'm writing over here fixed direct wages. 5 into 40 percentage. That comes to 2. 2 into 24,000. 48,000. Remaining is of course variable. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 into 24,000. That comes to 72,000. Usually friends, we do not compute the prime cost. However, this time the information is given that WIP is valued at prime cost. So we have prime cost. Six plus 2, 8. 8 plus 3, 11. So 11 into 24,000, 264. Or you may calculate the summation of 1,44,000 plus 48,000 plus 72,000, 264. In overhead it is again 5. Of that 80% is fixed, that is 4. So fixed overhead, 5 into 80 percentage, that comes to 4. 4 into 24,000, that comes to 96,000. Next is variable overhead. Five minus 4, that is 1. 1 into 24,000, that comes to 24,000. Prime cost plus fixed overhead plus variable overhead, that will give the total cost. 11 plus 4 is 15, 15 plus 1 is 16. In respect of the total, 264 plus 96 plus 24, 384. At the same time, it can also be calculated as 16 into 24,000. I request you to write down answer for the single shift, and then for double shift, try to complete the answer and put your answer in the chat box, per unit also and in total also. Let us have understanding how to calculate the answer. In case of double shift, first of all, I am writing the direct material consumption. I am sorry, direct material cost. It is 6 rupees minus 10%. Because the question speaks that the suppliers are going to give 10% discount. So instead of 6, it will be 5.4. Fixed direct wages will be same, in total 48,000. Variable direct wages will remain same, per unit 3. Then fixed overhead will remain same, in total 96,000. Variable overhead will remain same on per unit basis, 1 rupee. This is what we understand. See, you have to understand that, say, in respect of the calculation of the total cost for double shift, per unit will be kept same for variable, and in total will be kept same for fixed. So when it comes to calculation of the variable production cost, then in that case per unit it will be kept same. So what will happen, dear students, over here it is 5.4 into 48,000, and per unit it will be for fixed 48,000 upon 48,000. Then 3 into 48,000. So what will happen, it is 5.4 into 48,000, 259,200. Then 48 upon 48 is 1. 5.4 plus 1 plus 3, that is 9.4. 3 into 48,000, that is 1,44,000. 259,200 plus 48,000 plus 1,44,000 is 451,200. Then 96 divided by 48, that is 2 rupees per unit. One into 48,000, that comes to 48,000. 9.4 plus 2 plus 1, 12.4. 451,200 plus 96,000 plus 48,000, 595, 200. This is the way we have to compute the answer. This is the total cost, and per unit cost is calculated for single shift and double shift. So this is the way we make the computation of the total cost and per unit cost. Right on heading, calculation of raw material holding period, working note number 3, comma, WIP holding period, comma, finished goods holding period, comma, average collection period. See, dear students, this time you can see that the question is providing the information that average payment period for the creditors is 2 months. Average payment period for the expenses is half month. However, the question is not providing importantly that what is the raw material holding period, WIP holding period, finished goods holding period, average collection period. All these information have not been given. So basically what happens at say using say this current information, we are required to make a calculation of the answer. Yes, we have to make, that is say take into account the stock of the raw material, stock of WIP, stock of finished goods, debtors. All these information will be used for making this calculation. Otherwise, calculation of the working capital will be difficult. I want somebody of you to raise, that is, put your answer in the chat box, that what must be the current raw material holding period. So dear students, we are required to compute the raw material holding period taking into account the stock of the raw material and taking into account the consumption of the raw material. Because we can see that so the language of the question is extremely clear, that as on 31st of March 2022, the company held. So we can say something like this. Please write down answer along with me. Raw material holding period (12 months) divided by annual raw material consumption into raw material stock. So 12 months divided by consumption of the raw material is 1,44,000. Into stock of raw material is 36,000. That is the way we are supposed to find it. 12 into 36,000 divided by 1,44,000. That is 3 months. That is raw material holding period. Next is WIP holding period. In that 12 months divided by, we have been provided that say the WIP is valued at prime cost. You can see it has been given to us. So 12 months divided by prime cost into WIP stock. So 12 months divided by prime cost. Right now the prime cost is 2,64,000. Into WIP stock is 22,000. So we will have 12 into 22,000 divided by 2,64,000. So it comes to 1 month. Next is finished goods holding period. It will be calculated as 12 months divided by COGS, cost of goods sold, into finished goods stock. 12 months divided by COGS. Right now it is 3,84,000 into finished goods stock, that is provided 72,000. So 12 into 72,000 divided by 3,84,000. So it is 2.25 months. That is the way finished goods holding period can be found. Next, it is average collection period. Twelve months divided by annual credit sales into debtors. 12 months divided by credit sales for the entire year is 4,32,000 into debtors is 1,08,000. 12 into 108 divided by 432. So it is 3 months. That is the way average collection period is found. So we have computed a raw material holding period, WIP holding period, finished goods holding period, and average collection period. Now dear students, will make the computation of the working capital right now and in the proposed. Difference of both of them is the additional working capital requirement. Let us answer along with me. Calculation of present, comma, proposed working capital requirement and based on that additional working capital requirement. Full stop. Column number 1 will be particulars. Column number 2 will be single shift. Means working capital requirement on single shift. Third column will be double shift. That is working capital requirement on double shift. And difference of both of them is the additional working capital requirement. I request all of you to put your answer in the chat box that what is the working capital requirement on single shift basis. So in case of single shift, we have to work out the answer in this way. We start with the stock of raw material. I request all of you to write down answer along with me. As far as the stock of raw material is given, it is given to us in the question directly. It is an amount of 36,000. Then stock of WIP. Again, it is given to us in the question directly. It is an amount of 22,000. Next is stock of finished goods. Again, that is provided to us 72,000. You don't have to work out anything. Next is the debtors. Now in debtors, we have to be slightly careful. Dear students, we always have to understand the debtors which are given to us in the question is at sales price valued. It is valued based on the sale price. However, for the purpose of the working capital requirement, we need the debtors valuation on cost. So we will work out the answer like this. Cash cost of credit sales divided by 12 months into average collection period. This is what we understand. As far as the cash cost of the credit sales is concerned, it is 3,84,000. Average collection period is 3 months. So what will happen, dear students? It is 3,84,000 divided by 12 months into collection period of 3 months. So 384 into 3 divided by 12, 96,000. So this is an important point. See, you can also calculate this answer as 1,08,000 is the valuation given to us in the question. It is on the selling price of 18 and we require on the cost 16. So 108 into 16 upon 18, that is 96,000. This is the debtors. Cash balance information is not given, so we are ignoring it. Advance checks, ignoring it. Prepaid expenses, ignoring it. So now I'm starting with the creditors. Creditors for raw material. In that, it is annual credit purchases divided by 12 months. Into average payment period. As far as the current credit purchases are concerned, it is 1,44,000. Because for an ongoing company, we'll assume that the consumption itself is purchase divided by 12 months into average payment period is given to us in the question as 2 months. Credit availed from the supplier will continue to remain at present, that is 2 months. So 1,44,000 divided by 6, that comes to 24,000. Next is creditors for expenses. In creditors for expenses, we'll write total of all expenses, that is consisting of the direct wages. Amount of the direct wages is 5 into 40%, that is 2 into 24,000. So it is 48,000. Fixed direct wages plus 3 rupees, 5 into 60%, that is 3 3 into 24,000, that is 72,000, plus again overhead in that the fixed 4 rupees per unit into 24,000, that comes to 96,000, and 20%, so 1 rupee is fixed per unit, sorry, variable, and into 24,000, that is 24,000, divided by 12 months into average payment period, that is provided to us as half month, 0.50. So over here we'll work out the answer in this way. It is 48,000 plus 72,000 plus 96,000 plus 24,000, so 240 divided by 12, 20 into 0.5, 10. So creditors for expenses will be 10,000. Okay, now we'll deduct all the liabilities from the asset to make the calculation of the working capital for single shift. So we understand that the answer will be found like this: 36,000 raw material stock, 22,000 WIP stock, 72,000 finished goods stock, 96,000 which is important debtors, minus 24,000 creditors for raw material, minus 10,000 creditors for expenses. That gives a working capital 1,92,000. So working capital 1,92,000. This is for the single shift. Now we have to do similar working for the double shift. I request all of you to do answer on your own except for WIP. Try to do answer on your own except for WIP and put your answer in the chat box. So we will have working of the answer like this. I request all of you to write an answer along with me.
Excuse me, sir.
It is
Excuse me, sir.
annual raw material consumption divided by 12 months into raw material holding period. So what is the consumption of the entire year? The consumption of the entire year is 24,000 into 2, 48,000 into 5.4, that is 259,200, divided by 12 months into raw material holding period, that is provided as 3 months. So 259,200 into 3 divided by 12, so it is 64,800. In respect of WIP, I'll give you explanation just in a minute. Stock of finished goods, cost of goods sold divided by 12 months into finished goods holding period. As far as the cost of goods sold is concerned, it is 595,200, that is this value, divided by 12 into 2.25 months. That is the way we are required to do answer. So 595,200 divided by 12 into 2.25. So 1,11,600. Next is the debtors. That is cash cost of the credit sales. In that case, it is again same 595 200 divided by 12 months into 3 months. So 595 200 into 3 divided by 12. So 148 800. That is the debtors amount. Creditors for raw material, same formula. In that case, it is 2,59,200. Yes, this amount. 2,59,200 divided by 12 months into 2 months. Why? Because average payment period is 2 months. 43 200. Creditors for expenses. In that say we will be having same working. So as far as the fixed expense is concerned, it is going to remain same. That is 48,000. Then the variable expenses will be double. That is 1,44,000. Again the fixed is going to remain same, 96,000. Variable will be double. That is 48,000. Whole divided by 12 months. Into average payment period is 0.5 month. So we have the working of the answer like this: 48 plus 144 plus 96 plus 48 whole divided by 12 into 0.5, 14,000. That is creditors for expenses. Okay. So almost everything is done except for one thing, that is WIP. So based on this, we are required to find working capital for single shift and for double shift. And then we are required to find the difference, that is additional working capital. That is difference of the proposed and the present. That difference is the additional working capital. This is what we are required to do. Now, the important point is required to be explained to you is WIP valuation. As far as the WIP valuation is concerned, we will be having the simple formula prime cost. Why? Because this time the question says that WIP is valued at prime cost divided by 12 months whatever the answer that we have into WIP holding period. That is what we understand. What is the amount of the prime cost? We understand that say for the proposed, the amount of the prime cost is 4,51,200. This is the prime cost divided by 12 months multiplied with the WIP holding period. So 451,200 divided by 12 into WIP holding period. What is WIP holding period? We already have found it. Say it is 1 month. So now friends, over here, when we are going to do the double shift working, this WIP holding period will become half. From 1 month it will be taken as 0.5 month. Suppose right now WIP holding period is 2 months. Then in propose we will take, instead of 2, 1. Suppose right now it would have been 3 months. From 3 we will take half, that is we will take 1.5. This is what say we are required to do. Why? I am explaining that to you. Right now it has been given that production cycle is of 30 days. 1 month I am taking, roughly it is 30 days. Let us say that's a working for single shift, it means that's a working for 8 hours a day. So 30 into 8. We understand that say raw material is getting converted into finished goods in 240 hours. Raw material is getting converted into finished goods in 240 hours. Dear students, we understand that if at all we work for double shift, this 240 hours will not change. The production cycle is always going to remain same. So whatever the time it requires to process the raw material into finished goods, that will never change. So what will happen? Say when you start working for 16 hours a day, then in that case 240 upon 16, your production cycle will be completed in 15 days. That is the way we are supposed to make the calculation of the revised production cycle, and it is 15 days. See, we have to understand logically like this. Let us say, like, we have to complete, that is earlier it used to be like this: Monday doing A work, Tuesday doing B work, Wednesday C, Thursday D, Friday E, and so on, Saturday F, and so on working. That's we were supposed to do. Now when you start working for the double shift, then in that case what will happen? This is in case of single shift. Now if at all you start working for double shift, then in that case what will happen? Monday it is A, and Monday second shift you'll do B work. Tuesday it is C, Tuesday second shift you'll do the D work. Then E, F, and so on. So what will happen? That say overall the working time say will get completed say in half time period, because in total the production time period will not change. Suppose say to manufacture this pen, you have to heat it for some time, you have to make sure that say it remains in this temperature for some time, or you are required to mold it for some time, something like this. This is the process that say we have. That process is going to remain same. But since we are working for the double shift, we would be able to complete the production instead of 1 month in half month. Accordingly, we are required to find the WIP and we'll make the calculation of the working capital. So I request all of you to write down the stock of WIP now. It will be 451200 into 0.5 divided by 12, that is 18,800. So what will happen? It is 64,800 plus 18,800 plus 1,11,600 plus 148,800 minus 43,200 minus 14,000. So new working capital requirement is 286,800. Existing working capital requirement 36 plus 22 plus 72 plus 96 minus 24 minus 10,000 192. So from 192 it has increased to 286 800. So it is increased by 94 800. Please write down answer. So the working capital requirement increases by 94,800. Just write down a note for the answer. When a company will work on double shift, comma, in that case, the company will be able to reduce WIP holding period to half. Full stop. Further write down, importantly, debtors given in the question is on sales value comma, while debtors for working capital to be found on cost. Full stop. So starting with a kind of revision of the entire answer, working note number 1 is calculation of the number of units to be produced and sold at new level. So sales upon selling price, that is 4,32,000 upon 18, that is 24,000 number of units into 2, 48,000 number of units. Then second working note is the calculation of the total cost and the cost per unit for present and the proposed activity level. Calculation of the answer for the present is not at all difficult. However, just we have to be careful that say whatever the cost information is given to us right now is divided into two parts. One is variable and another is fixed. Fixed will remain same in total and variable will remain same on per unit basis. So when we are making the calculation for the double shift, we'll keep the per unit same and for variable and in total same for the fixed. Accordingly, we will compute the revised cost with the proposed activity level. In that way, we have to be careful that as far as the material cost is concerned, in a normal situation, we would have kept it same, 6 rupees itself. However, this time there is a kind of traded discount of the 10 percentage. So instead of 6, it will be 5.4. One more thing that say we usually avoid calculation of the prime cost. However, in this question we are calculating the prime cost. The reason behind that is the WIP is valued at prime cost. This is what say we have done. This time there is a new working note that say we have to prepare. That is raw material holding period, WIP holding period, finished goods holding period, and average collection period. The reason that say we are preparing them is that say all that information is not provided to us in the example. That is the reason say we are preparing all these working notes. For that, so the two things are required to be considered. Right now, what is the activity level that we have for material consumption, for total cost, prime cost, and so on. And second thing, we are required to take into account that say what is the current level of the inventory. So we have done raw material holding period, then we have done WIP holding period, then finished goods holding period, average collection period. All these say the answers are calculated. In order to compute the average collection period right now, we will take into account the annual credit sales and not the cost. Why? Because the data given to us in the question would be on the sales value and not at the cost. Information given to us in the question is always on the sales value. This is what we understand. Then calculation of the working capital. In case of the single shift, the answer is extremely simple because almost all current assets are provided to us. Just we have to be careful that say the data's valuation, the sales value of the data will be converted into cost. Creditors for raw material and creditors for expenses, say for that the information is given to us. Based on that, so the current working capital is found. Once we implement the new policy, that is double shift, the calculation of the stock of raw material depends upon the raw material holding period which we have found in the previous working note. Then stock of the finished goods, again based on the finished goods holding period which we have found in the previous working note. Average collection period same, creditors for raw material for that information is given. Again temporarily we are going to have so the production more than the sales. Temporarily we will be having so the purchase more than the consumption. That point is ignored. And accordingly we make the computation of the creditors for the expenses as well. WIP holding period is the important point over here. We understand that say the in total the production cycle is going to remain same. It is not going to change. Now what will happen? Say instead of, listen carefully, instead of producing the product in 1 month, we would be able to produce that in the half month. Because that production process is not going to change whether you work for the single shift or double shift. Accordingly, we make the calculation of the working capital requirement. Difference of both of them is answer of the question, that is the additional working capital requirement if at all we shift to double shift working. That is what we understand. These notes are only for the purpose of understanding. These notes are not forming part of the answer.